landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions. The majority in cases from Texas and Georgia said that the decision to end a pregnancy during the first 3 months belongs to the woman and her doctor, not the government.
It was 1969 in Texas, a time when the law ruled over women's bodies. Norma McCorvey was just 22 years old, alone, broke, and pregnant for the third time. She had already given up 2 children for adoption and was living on the edge of survival. The thought of bringing another child into this world felt impossible for her. Desperate and with nowhere to turn, Norma saw a way to end her pregnancy. But in Texas, the law was clear. Abortion was a crime unless the woman's life was in danger. There were no exceptions for desperation, for poverty, or for a young woman to take control of her future. Her search eventually led her to find 2 attorneys, Weddington and Linda Coffey. They saw Norma's story for what it was, not only the fight of one woman, but the fight of many, millions who were silenced by the nation. Norma became Jane Roe, the face of a legal battle that would change history. Though Norma had never had the abortion she sought, her course became a pivot in reproductive health and women's rights in America, opening the door for millions of women to make choices that they before could not. Her story was born of struggle and became the change America needed. Before Roe v. Wade, abortion in the United States was highly restricted. By the late 1960s, most states only allowed abortion if the mother's life was in danger. These laws left women with a lot of unsafe options, leading to an estimated 200,000 to 1.2 million illegal abortions annually. Many of these abortions, of course, were unsafe, making illegal abortion one of the leading causes of maternal death at the time. The 1960s brought a shift. The women's liberation movement, as well as medical organizations, the American Medical Association, began advocating for safe legal abortions. Public support also grew, as awareness of the dangers of illegal abortions became widespread. In 1969, Norma McCorvey, able to obtain an illegal abortion in Texas, became the main person in Roe v. Wade. Attorney Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey argued Texas's abortion laws violated a woman's constitutional right to privacy. January 22, 1973, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in favor of McCorvey, establishing that abortion rights were protected under the 14th Amendment. This decision not only struck down restricted state laws, but also led to a dramatic decline in deaths from illegal abortions. It marked a turning point. What does it mean to own your own body? That was the question Roe v. Wade forced America to confront. Rights are not just legal constructs, they are declarations of human dignity. The decision ended with the ability to make decisions about one's body is fundamental. Without this right, can we truly say that we are free? Rights are not privileges that are handed down by governments. They are innate. The right to choose an abortion is more than a legal matter. It's the recognition of autonomy. To deny someone control over their own body is to deny them ownership of their life. Yet no right exists without tension. With every freedom comes a societal responsibility. So Roe didn't just empower individuals, but called upon society to respect and protect those fundamental freedoms. It challenged us to see reproductive choice not as an isolated act, but part of a greater moral obligation, where empathy and justice are prioritized. So the heart of Roe v. Wade lies in that truth. A society cannot claim to value freedom while denying individuals control over their most intimate choices. To honor rights, we must first honor humanity, because with every right comes a responsibility. This case did more than establish that. It expressed the obligations that come with recognizing these rights. Society was called to ensure not only that the right was written on paper, but that it can be meaningfully exercised in practice. The responsibility starts with access. A right without access is an empty promise. The rule demanded that states and healthcare systems create pathways for safe and legal abortions, and highlighted the moral duty to protect women from the dangers of illegal procedures, which had claimed countless lives in the years prior. But of course, the responsibility extends beyond logistics. It requires helping the understanding and respect for the complex and deeply personal nature of reproductive decisions, such as abortions. It isn't as simple of a decision to not consider the reasons. Ultimately, Roe v. Wade reminded us that rights are not going to advocate for themselves. They thrive only when supported collectively. Cut to the oral argument on October 11, 1972.
There still are unwanted pregnancies. There are still women who, for various reasons, do not wish to continue the pregnancy, whether because of personal health considerations, whether because of their family situation, whether because of financial situations, education, working situations, some of the many things we discussed at the last hearing.
Before, as mentioned, illegal abortions were one of the leading causes of maternal deaths. After Roe, those numbers were drastically reduced. Today, abortion is one of the safest medical procedures, with a complication rate less than 0.3%. The ripple effects of Roe v. Wade went way beyond healthcare. Access to legal abortion allowed more women to pursue education and careers, including their economic stability. Research shows that women that were able to access abortion were significantly more likely to graduate college and enter the workforce, benefiting not only themselves but their families and communities. Rights and responsibilities are inseparable.
Responsibilities are inseparable in defining freedom in America. Roe versus Wade marked a critical moment in affirming that privacy and autonomy are essential,
especially for women. It recognized that choices about one's body are deeply personal and should be protected from any type of interference. This case was not only about abortion. It was about ensuring that women have control over their own lives and futures. By protecting this right, Roe expanded the conversation about equality and personal freedom, highlighting the importance of human rights.